Hello and welcome to another episode of Hashtag Now Smoking. I'm Gary Korb, Executive Editor at cigaradvisor.com. And this week I'm smoking the Asylum 9 1118. This is a Figurado shape that was popularized by Christian Eiroa of CLE Cigars, which also happens to be one of my favorite shapes. So let's get right to it, okay? The Asylum 9 1118 is made at the Aladino Cigar Factory in Donley, Honduras. It is a 6-inch by 48 ring by 54 kind of in the middle and another 48 down at the bottom. It's the Figurado. I'm putting it at medium full, and the wrapper looks like a dark Honduran Corojo. It's all Honduran, filler and binder. The presentation is a box of 20 cigars or singles, and you can get those at Famous Smoke Shop. All right, so what about the story behind these cigars? All right, well, Asylum Cigars are the other face of the CLE Cigar Company, founded by Christian Eiroa and Tom Lazuka in 2012. Emerging from what they call the so-called boutique side of the cigar industry, Asylum is known for its vibrant, rich-tasting blends, its excellent craftsmanship, mostly affordable prices, and perhaps most of all, for their big 70 and 80 ring gauge cigars. Now, Tom Lazuka is the head of the Asylum brand. Before he landed at CLE, he was a sales representative for Camacho Cigars, and before that, he worked in sales for Colibri. Okay, now, starting with the Asylum 7, Asylum 9 is the third anniversary series for Asylum, and as they did with the 7 and 8, there are two main sizes. You have a 7 by 70, and then the 1118 that I'm smoking here. Now, here's a little trivia for you, all right? The 1118 is named for Kristen Eiroa's mother, whose birthday is actually for her birthday, which is November 18th. How do you like that? And the 1118 shape is also patented, so no one else can make it, all right? But there is one more cigar in the line, which I guess Tom just couldn't resist, and it is a Asylum 9 9 by 90. Mamma mia. All of the sizes are presented in these really attractive copper and black coffins. Very nice, see? And it is a limited edition with only 1,000 boxes being released. Now, let's take a closer look at our release here. If you look at the band, I really like it. It's got copper and black colors, which go nicely with the coppery color of the wrapper. And the year 9 is printed above the skull. And the wrapper is this nice, dark, oily leaf, and it's even in color all the way through. There are a couple of veins, which I think give the cigar a little character. And the wrapper isn't too delicate, which I also like. Now, the cigar has a nice firm feel to it. It feels good in my hand. I love the shape because of how it kind of bows out and then back in again. Okay. The cap is perfectly applied, really nicely, neatly done here. And after clipping, the cold draw, I guess it was kind of mostly woody, little tart, but also woody. Now, so far in Act 1 here, the cigar lit beautifully. The draw was perfect. And the first few puffs were a bit peppery and earthy, which doesn't surprise me, but that doesn't last long at all. Because if the cigar transitions, it gets into a much sweeter smoke pretty quickly. The draw is perfect, and the cigar puts out a thick amount of smoke. The first half inch I'd have to identify is mainly medium of body and earthy with a hint of that underlying sweetness. And there's a nice light pepper spice on the finish. Now, so far, the smoke has also been exceedingly creamy with this earthiness and some of this tartness as well. And there's just this like nice little sliver of sweetness, and it's got that spicy pepper-like finish. Now, check out the smoke. Just really smooth, really nice. And I got to tell you, everything's really nicely balanced too. So if you're ready to see what's next, don't go away. All right, well, as you can see, this long band on the cigar, I had to take you off the band, but you can also see a little bit of how that cigar flares out there, right? Well, right now I'm picking up some notes of nutmeg and leather in this section, while that earthiness and light sweetness and spicy finish are still pretty consistent. Now, the body at this point appears to be leaning toward medium plus, but it's still very smooth, very creamy, balanced, and pleasant. And I'm getting close to that midsection right now. And not only is it so smoky, I'm getting a little bit of extra sweetness and actually a little hint of coffee in there. And there's also one other thing I wanted to point out, and that is This cigar really has a wonderful aroma. It's really nice and sweet, and the cigar is burning really well. And so in summing up this section, I'm kind of getting a mix of sweet tobacco, earth, and spice with those additional little slivers of nutmeg, leather, and coffee in the mix. And I think it's almost time to see how the story ends. All right, look at all that smoke. Now, this is impressive. More sweetness is creeping in at this point. Now, additionally, the cigar has been consistent in body, creaminess, and balance of flavors for a really excellent performance. But as I get further into this final section, it's definitely gone up a notch in body, moving it into the medium full zone. And by here, it's these last 2.5 inches, let's say, it's become quite full. So it could be a little much for younger adult cigar smokers. Now, it's also a lot spicier, it's earthier, and now that sweetness is pretty much gone. But even with that, just under 2 inches left in the cigar offered a very, very long smoke. And my sample and this one actually bordered on an hour, which is pretty good. So hang in there because my final thoughts are next. All right, final thoughts. Another excellent cigar from Asylum and another nice presentation for their 9th anniversary. The smoke is really smooth. It's good with bourbon, by the way, because I had my sample with Larceny over ice. Yes, very nice. And the smoke is very creamy. It's very balanced. It's medium plus for most of the ride. But in those last couple of inches, like right here, the body does turn pretty full. Now, there's a thin ribbon of sweetness that runs right through that cigar that I really liked. I found it very appealing, as well as some added notes of leather and nutmeg and some of that coffee flavor. But for the most part, the smoke is earthy and spicy with this like kind of white pepper finish. Now, I thought it had a fair amount of complexity too, since I was always curious about what was coming around the corner, okay? Now, you know that Asylum does a lot of Nicaraguan Honduran blends and Nicaraguan puros. The truth be told, this is one of the higher priced cigars they've done, okay? But I'm recommending it not just because it handed me a very flavorful and relaxing session, or because I happen to like this particular shape. I'm recommending it because if you like Honduran puros, this is one of the best I've had. The tobaccos that Tom chose for this blend are absolutely exquisite. So if any of what you've seen in this video has piqued your interest, you should definitely consider placing one of these Asylums between your thumb and forefinger. This 11/18, really, really nice. And there you have it. Remember, you'll find the Asylum 9 selection and all the other wonderful Asylum cigars at famous-smoke.com. And for more cigar reviews, advice, and news, follow us at cigaradvisor.com, as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok and YouTube, where you can like this video. Thank you very much, and subscribe. Now, please also click the notifications bell so you'll always know when a new Cigar Advisor video has been updated. All right, that's all for this week's #NowSmoking review. I'm Gary Korb, and thanks for watching.